Hey everyone, real quick here, future Jimbo, post-editing Jimbo, I just wanted to say and apologize up front, I had no intention of this video being this long, to be honest. For some reason, I thought it was only going to take 20 or 30 minutes to go over this, but it ends up being about an hour. We go over pretty much all of the leaks that have come out in the past month or so, going over OP-15, so it's a lot of cards, it's like 50-something cards. So yeah, I think in the future, we'll probably only do it like by each leak, like when a new card comes out, then we'll maybe just talk about that for 10 minutes instead of doing it all in one go. I think it will still be nice though if you want to know everything, and then you can always like pause the video and read it for yourself and like kind of like get your own take on it. But again, I apologize in advance for it being this long. I also don't say this in the video, but I do want to just say right now, spoiler warning, if you want to go into OP-15 completely blind, you don't want to know what all the cards are so that when you do open them, it does feel like a surprise, then I wouldn't recommend you watch this. You don't want to hurt the video now, because you've already clicked on it, you've already seen this. So while you're here, you could just give us a like, maybe let me know, you know, I don't want to watch this, and then you can hit the back button. That'd be great. That'd be great. No, I'm kidding. But if you do make it to the end of this video, again, thank you very much. It's a long one. I do a lot of yapping here. We go over pretty much all the cards, like I say, that have been leaked. And let me know down below what you're most excited for. What was the favorite reveal, your most favorite reveal that we did today? Or maybe what was your favorite leader or one that you're most excited to play when OP-15 does come around? Obviously, I still haven't completed some of my OP-14 decks. We're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But the leaks are here, so we may as well talk about it while we can. And hopefully, by OP-15, we can afford the boxes. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Hooray! Anyway, I'll see you in the video. Welcome back, everyone, to 3 Lines TCG. Today, we're going to do something slightly different than our normal routine. We're actually going to do a little video going over everything we currently know about OP-15. So basically, all of the leaks. I've got a Word document here that's going to go over all of the cards that we've currently seen that have been leaked, and then a translation of them. Obviously, they're all in Japanese, so you get to see the artwork, but then we'll actually go over what it actually translates to, what it means, and then how it's going to fit with some of the, you know, current decks. I'm quite excited about OP-15, only because there is a lot of support with Calgara. So we're going to go over a lot of that. I built a Calgara deck like a couple months ago now. Well, actually, probably a bit longer than that. But I really enjoyed it, played a lot with it, and there's a lot of new cards for him in here. So with that being said, if you didn't know already, OP-15's theme is Sky Island. So you know exactly what that means.
Hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Now, the Japanese release is set to be in February 28th, so pretty much at the end of this month, and the English version will come out in April 3rd of 2026. So a little bit longer on the English release, but after this set, we should all be caught back up. That was kind of a thing that they've been trying to work on. The Japanese sets release a little bit before the English, and so they're going to try and make it where we're basically onto global release, where everything releases at the same time. So this set should be the one that catches everyone up. That's why it's kind of been weird with OP-14 having like EBO4 cards in it as well. Well, OP-15 will be the same. The other half of the EBO4 cards will actually be in that set. So we'll go over all of the cards that we've seen. The big news, the big thing is that we finally get a new Straw Hat Crew leader, and of course that will be Brook, so I'm actually really excited about that. Brook is my boy, I do love Brook, but I'm a little bit disappointed only because it is green-black. I do enjoy playing some of the black decks, but like, I don't know, I'm not a big green fan, so it's going to be, I think it potentially game-breaking. I don't know. We'll see. We'll go over it. It'll be kind of probably lower on the list just because we're going to go in order here. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with what basically comes with this set in terms of how it's breaking down for the rarities. So we do have 7 leaders, 60 commons, 30 uncommons, 36 rares, 14 super rares, which is actually kind of crazy. I thought that that was more than what we got in OP-14, but in OP-14, I think we actually had 15 super rares. So that was kind of the crazy thing I was saying. I was responding to some comments on the last video I did, but like, we opened 2 booster boxes of OP-14 and probably like 20 sleeve booster packs, and we still didn't see 4 of the SRs, which is that's not normal, like, for most of the other sets that we've opened in the past. So that just goes to show that basically, because they're combining EBO4 and OP-14 and OP-15, right, in this case, you do have a lot more SRs, which is not a terrible thing, but it does just mean like your hit rates for those are going to be kind of whack. We have 3 secret rares as well, 9 special cards, so basically SPs, 1 treasure rare still, which, you know, that could be subject to change, I'm not sure. There is usually only ever 1 treasure rare in each set, to be fair, so that might stay the same. There could be some more SP cards. It says there's only 1 Don card, which in OP-14 we definitely had 2. So I'm curious how that's going to be. And I'm also, when I look at that, I kind of go, are we going to get Gold Don again? Because the Gold Don kind of changed the mapping of OP-14 quite a lot. Like, it actually was included in a lot of 3-hit boxes. So that was kind of interesting. And that might be the only thing that I would say would maybe be subject to change. Everything else looks kind of accurate. There is only 6 leaders technically in OP-15, but the EBO for Bonnie is the last leader. So we'll go over that a little bit at the end. But this also has 12 cards in each booster pack, 24 packs in a display box, obviously still like a booster box, and then a case will still have 12 booster boxes. So it's not like one of the EB sets, which usually the EBO3 sets only have 10 boxes in a case. So that will be kind of all as normal. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into our leader. The first leader that was leaked was Monkey D. Luffy, the yellow type. So we'll go over everything, and then I'm actually going to have it all be color coordinated. So we're going to start with Luffy as the leader here, but then we're going to go over pretty much all of the other yellow cards. So when it comes to Luffy, he's obviously yellow, like we say. He has 5 life, 5k power. He is Sky Island / Straw Hat Crew. So when one of your Sky Island type characters with an original power of 6k or greater would be removed from the field by your opponents, you may instead place the top card of your life into your hand. So that one's kind of interesting because a lot of how the meta has been run now is the starving mechanic, which if you don't know what that means, basically they just will refuse to attack you. I am actually okay with starting with yellow first because I do play a lot of yellow. A lot of the main decks that I run, like Calgara, and I want to run Moria in OP-14 as well. I'm still missing a couple cards there, but and obviously I ran Bonnie as well in OP-13. But the one thing I saw from like sort of higher end players, if I was playing into Emu or Ace or whatever, they would just refuse to attack you because they know that, one, you probably like an 85% chance you'll have a trigger. If you're kind of like me and sometimes you just run a trigger with every single card, then you're guaranteed a trigger. So they want to prevent you from doing that, and they want to set up to be able to basically just kill you in one go. So that's generally the meta. What's kind of cool about this is that you don't have to pay attention to that. So now you're protecting your characters. If one of your characters with 6k power would be removed from the field, you may instead place the top card of your life into your hand. So in other words, you can guarantee get some resource and protect the cards on your field. I don't know how well that's going to do. I think based on the support that this Straw Hat Crew yellow type gets, and we just had ST29 as well, the Egghead leader for Luffy, so there's a lot of Straw Hat, like new yellow Straw Hat Crew cards. I think this could be quite annoying to play into, so we'll see. I think there's some that are a bit stronger than this, but still pretty cool. I like the artwork too for just a regular leader. Now we're going to go into Nico Robin. Crazy. It's a dope looking card, but I'm pretty sure this is the one I read that this will going to be used in a lot of different decks. So she's a 7-cost 7k Sky Island Straw Hat Crew, 1000 counter. On play, you may add the top card of your life to your hand. If your leader has the type Straw Hat Crew, you may add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. After that, you may play up to 1 character from your hand with the type Sky Island and a cost of 5 or less. So what's interesting about this one, and what you always have to pay attention to, which sometimes is always mistranslated a bit, you have to pay attention to the bold text, right? So just kind of like Zeus in OP-11, you have to take a life if you want to KO somebody that's like 5 costs or less. I'm pretty sure that's what Zeus does. So in this card, you have to take the top of your life, and if you do, your leader, if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew, you may add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. So in other words, you can heal and basically prevent what you just did, or basically recycle your life to get a different trigger, basically. And then after that, you may cheat out a character, and the character can be a Sky Island type card. I'll actually just show you real quick what Calgara does. So Calgara is this, because we will talk about this quite a lot, but he is the Don ×1 when attacking, play a Shandirian warrior type character card from your hand. So basically you can cheat out a card depending on how many Don you have on your field. So he's going to, with everything that I've seen, which we're going to go over, I don't know. I think he's going to be a lot stronger than he currently is. There's a couple cards that do that. But this is the leader that we're going to be kind of focusing on with a lot of these cards, because he's probably one of the better Sky Island leaders. Of course, Enel as well would also pretty much apply to a lot of this stuff as well. So you can kind of take that. But I didn't really play too much Enel. He was annoying to play against, to say the least. We've also got Nami, beautiful card. This is going to be your searcher. 1 cost, 2k. The nicest part about this is 2k counter. I'm just going to be honest, because this is basically the same as an upper yard. You know, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reel it to 1 Sky Island type card and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Upper yard with the combo with Wiper and stuff like that does have a better search mechanic. You can actually get multiple searches out of that stage, but it doesn't have any counter. So it, depending on what, I think this would be more so run with the Straw Hat crew, with the Luffy leader, more so than maybe a Calgara, but the 2k counter is still always nice, so you'll take that. Next we have Wiper, the first SR we're going over. So 5 cost, 6k, Sky Island, Shandian Warrior, so keep that in mind. This does mean that you can summon him, you can cheat him out with the Calgara effect. On play, you may turn the top card of your life cards face up, give all of your opponent's characters minus 2000 power for this turn, then KO all opponent's characters with a power of 0 or less. Activate main once per turn. Give up to 1 rested Don card to one of your Sky Island type leader or character cards. So in other words, this is going to be ran in every Calgara deck. Literally, not even the on-play. I mean, the on-play is great. But the activate main allows you to utilize your Calgara ability a little bit easier. So, in other words, you can give one of your rested Don instead of one of your active Don to be able to do your Calgara play. So that's really nice. He's also a 5 cost 6k, so you can do it a bit quicker than some of the 6 costs that you used to run in a lot of those decks. And his on-play is not bad, right? Giving all your opponent's characters minus 2000 power for this turn. So, you know, that you can probably eliminate quite a lot of characters there. And then obviously if they've got pretty much any chump blockers or if they have any searches, you can just get to KO them. So obviously KOing characters with effects is really hard to go against, like decks like Emu and stuff like that have a lot of protection. But in general, it's just a nice ability, I think. So that's pretty good. We got Ganfall next, 4 cost 4k. Sky Island, 2k counter again. That is the reoccurring theme with these cards. These are probably the only ones I really looked into, to be completely honest with you. When we get further down, I'm probably going to not remember a lot of them or know them. I'm going to be reacting to them basically on the fly here. But if you have a Sky Island type character with 7,000 power or more, give this card in your hand minus 3 cost, which is interesting. So now it becomes a 1 cost. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards. So a lot of the Sky Island cards would have effects that is based on how much life you and your opponent have, or sometimes you have. So that's why Calgara and a lot of the Sky Island decks really just manipulate life. They don't rely as much on triggers. Like as you can see here, none of these have triggers, right? So it's not necessarily a trigger life deck. It's more so, or a yellow deck. It's more of like a life manip type deal. But this is pretty good. Like I think that's going to be very useful because that's basically pretty much permanently going to be a 1 cost. It's never going to be worth playing it as a 4 cost. You just wait and then get a huge discount. And then I think if you don't use it, it's still a 2k counter. So you can't go wrong with that. It's Sky Island too, so it's very easily searchable. I don't know. It's a really good card. I don't know if I like the fact that yellow is going to be able to start resting opponents' characters. That's the green mechanic. It'll be interesting. I think that's going to tilt a couple people here and there, I have a feeling. So next up we have Calgara. Now this card is crazy. I had to like triple read this one, and then I was like, there's no way that this is going to replace the Ring-a-Ding the Bell, which is a famous card that I always say, and it is it's right here. Let me read the card first, but you'll see what I'm saying. So it's a 3 cost 5k. So that again means that you can start cheating him out very early now. You only need 3 Don to get him out. Technically, you would need 4 to be able to activate Calgara's ability. So this could be like a turn 2 play if you were going second. But on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, look at 5 cards on the top of your deck, reveal up to a total of 2 Mont Blanc Nolans or Shandirian Warrior type cards, and add them to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So in other words, this is pretty much the same as We'll Ring the Bell Waiting for You, which I actually did run for a while. I really liked the fact that you could search, and that you could get, 2 of each. Total of 2, so you're getting a little bit of value, getting cards in your hand, and I just kind of did it to get some extra counter if there was nothing else that I could play on that turn. So it was kind of useful to have this. It also had the trigger of just drawing 1 card. So now, though, same cost, it's still 3 Don, and it's a 5k character, so it's not as useless now. You can actually just straight up play and search, and it can swing next turn, and it's Calgara. So a lot of the effects, like Mont Blanc Noland, specifically Mont Blanc Noland usually, he can't heal, I'll show you, he can't heal without a Calgara being on the field, right? So on play, if you lead a Shandirian Warrior type and you have a Calgara character, add up to 1 card from the top of your life to the top of your life card. So in other words, you can get that combo much quicker. Normally, your Calgara that you would run in the decks were usually 6 cost, so it would take a lot longer for you to be able to utilize your heal mechanic. But now you can do it pretty much immediately. So people are going to probably want to try and wipe that off the board. Only downside to this card, it has no counter, but your event card didn't have counter anyway. So I just think it's an upgrade. It means that Calgara is going to be able to get bodies on the board even quicker than he already can do. So I don't know. I think this is going to be pretty big support for him. And then we've got another Noland, right? Another Mont Blanc Noland, 4 cost, 5k. He's the only one that's ever like Jaya and Botanist. So he's really hard to search for with the traditional Sky Island cards. That's why you have to use like that Calgara and some of the more specific searches that will say or a Mont Blanc Noland, right? So that's a lot of them. Don ×1, when attacking, up to 1 of your Calgara cards gains Rush during this turn. Yeah, and he has 2k counter. Like, this card's kind of gonna be good. Like, this isn't like you could run this with the heal, and then if you start getting your 6 cost Calgaras on the field, because I'm assuming you'd still run them because they're 8k, you can start making them rush as well. So this plays really, really well. You gotta be careful with your Don, because you do have to Don ×1. So that's the only thing. You've got to do the timing of this correctly. You can get a 6 cost 8k Calgara and play it with the Calgara leader ability, and you can basically get like 3 swings. So I don't know. I think that's going to be quite good. You just got to make sure you get the timing correct on this, and 2k counter still, so it's like not useless. We've got Kamakiri, so he is a 5 cost 6k Sky Island Shandian Warrior, 1k counter again. On play, you may trash this card and add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. So this is maybe what you would be utilizing, because he is the Shandian Warrior. You'd maybe be summoning him with the Calgara leader ability and then bursting a 6 cost or less. It's pretty good, but again, the meta does struggle right now with emus and with a lot of anti-counter on the characters. So this is probably going to be one you may only run 2 in a deck. You might not need 4. I think this is the one that's you're probably gonna have to play around with the most, but it's still a very, very solid ability going into pretty much any other deck, in my opinion. So that's not bad there. And then we've got Reiki. She gets I think this is a big upgrade. I used to run her last card was like a chump blocker, so it was kind of useless a little bit, but it was a nice little filler if you didn't have all the cards in the deck. But this is a 4 cost 4k. Sky Island and Shandirian Warrior, so you can still summon her with Calgara, so always keep that in mind. Blocker after your opponent, well, blocker is explaining what the blocker is, we don't need to know that. On play it to 1 Shandian Warrior type character card with a cost or 3 or less from your hand. So in other words, at 4 Don, guess who you can cheat out with the 4 cost 4k blocker? That's right, the 3 cost 5k search Calgara. So you now have a small combo here with a 4-3, where you're basically cheating out 7 Don worth of cards, but what, 4 Don? So it's not bad there, and you could probably get another 2 cards in your hand from a search. So that's an interesting little play there. That makes his going second and that second turn actually way stronger. I think Kalgara really didn't struggle going second, but definitely preferred to go first. So this now gives you the option to go first or second. And honestly, with a lot of these cards, you may want to end up going second. So I don't know. It's really cool. I like that one. Conis, I don't know. This one's probably going to be ran. I think, in my opinion, though, it's really just for 2k counter. 1 cost, Sky Island. On play, if you have less life cards than your opponent, draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. So in other words, just a way to cycle out some cards if you want to get rid of stuff. And maybe search for something, well, you know, get a lucky top deck on something that you're trying to find. The trigger's nice as well. Draw 2 cards, trash 1 card from your hand. So basically a free card draw there. So that's not bad. But I don't know if I would run that. I just think there's better options, in my opinion. If you were running Kalgara, maybe. I think it might be better, actually, with Enel, maybe, you know. Then we've got Octopus Balloon, which is I actually like this artwork. It's pretty dope. 2 cards, 0k. Animal Sky Island, which is interesting too. 1k counter, and it just has a trigger. So draw 1 card, then play up to 1 yellow character or stage card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. So this is probably one of the more underwhelming ones, because you can only utilize its trigger. And usually when I see cards like that can only utilize a trigger, I do like it if they have at least 2k counter. So I don't think I will ever run this card. I don't think it's going to be as useful as you maybe think. But there is still like potential if you ran like the full trigger deck. So there's probably something with that will work. But as of this second, on the top of my head, I probably wouldn't run this if I'm in that Kalgara mindset. But it's still like a really cool card. Then we've got Zoro, yellow, 4 cost 6k, my boy. Sky Island, Straw Hat Crew. On play, you may discard 1 card from your hand. Add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life. So in other words, you get to trash a card and heal. So that's interesting, and it is Straw Hat Crew. So in my head, I'm going, you could run that with the 6 life Luffy that we just got as well. Andy Sky Island, so he's potentially searchable for a lot of the other, you know, Enel or Kalgara decks. So I think this is going to be a really good card. It's kind of frustrating that he gets a card that you can heal with, but dope artwork too. I don't know, he looks a bit too strong. That was pre-time skip, and that was, well, I guess the animation was like in the 90s, it felt like. So anyway, it's a cool card. I'm actually looking forward to that one. Then we have the Luffy. This is the first secret rare that we've seen. This card looks dope anyway. Like, I really like this, but its effect is kind of crazy, and I've yet to see one that utilizes like the X type deal. So I'll read it here. If you have 6 or more Don, this character gains Rush. When your opponent activates an event or blocker, reveal the top card of your life. This turn, this character has power plus X, so basically plus 1,000, where X is equal to the cost of the reveal card. So in other words, if your opponent activates an event or a blocker, and let's say you top deck on your life like an 8 cost, then he gains 8,000 power when he attacks, right? So it's all based on how much the cost of the card that's revealed on the top of your life, and then you basically add that to this character's power. So that could be really, really good into, like, let's say a blocker bid if they activate the blocker, like against Ace and stuff like that, or even just like counter events, right? Counter card. A lot of decks use a lot of counter events, so that's an interesting card, and I think that will get a lot of play. Now we're going to move on to red-green. So we've got Don Krieg. When I first read this one, I actually quite like his ability. So it's kind of an interesting one, even for red-green by my standards. So Don ×1, opponent's turn. If you control only characters with the East-Blue type, all of your opponent's characters gain minus 2,000 power. So that's kind of nice. It's almost like a built-in Shanks, almost, but a little bit of an upgrade. But you do have to have a Don attached, so it kind of evens out a little bit. Activate main once per turn. Rest up to one of your opponent's characters with 2 or more given Don cards. So that is going to be very important when you see some of the cards that support this leader. There's a whole mechanic about giving Don cards, rested Don, to your opponent's characters. So it's kind of interesting. I'm curious to see how that's going to work. So let's go ahead and move on to the cards that potentially support this. So we've got Alvida, She's a 5-cost 6k, Alvida Pirates East Blue. If this character would be KO'd, you may trash one character with 6k power or less from your hand instead. Activate main once per turn. You may give one of your opponent's rested Don cards to one of your opponent's characters. Give up to one rested Don card from their owner's cost area and give it to their leader or one of their characters. So in other words, what we just said here, you can basically rest your opponent's characters by giving them rested Don with Alvida specifically, but there's other cards that do it too. So that's kind of an interesting mechanic. It's probably going to be a bit annoying, but it's kind of a different way of doing it at least. So that's going to be interesting. Very useful card for this. We've got Jin next. 6-cost 7k plus 1000 counter as well. On play, if your leader is the East Blue type, play up to one character card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. So in other words, just being able to cheat out a big 5-cost. You could obviously cheat out Alvida in this particular case, right? And of course, you know, your Don Krieg is going to be East Blue, so you can do that. So that's going to be a useful card as well, and that is an SR, both rare and SR there. And then your Don Krieg character, 8-cost 9k. On play, give up to 3 of your opponent's rested Don cards to one of your opponent's characters. Then this character gains Rush. I think it's supposed to say that. Activate main once per turn. If this character was played on this turn, give minus 1000 power to all of your opponent's characters for each of their given Don until the end of your turn. So a really, really nice way to basically rest, get Rush, and swing and eliminate characters, right? So a slightly different version of like a Hoddy Jones, basically, right? But it's like the red version, I guess, but similar mechanics. So it's gonna be interesting. I think that combo alone, with just those like 3 cards, will make Don Krieg very interesting. He has a couple more cards though. So we got Morgan, East Blue, Navy. 1000 counter again. He is a blocker, so 5-cost 6k blocker. Activate main once per turn. You may give one of your opponent's rested Don cards to one of your opponent's characters. Give up to one rested Don card from their owner's cost area and give it to a leader or one. So basically the exact same effect as Alvida. So very, very similar there, but this is a blocker. It's got Pearl as well, 4-cost 4k, East Blue. Opponent's turn, if your leader has the East Blue type, this card gains 2000 power. So on the opponent's turn, this is a 4-cost 6k. On KO, if your leader has the East Blue type, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base power of 6000 or less. So again, tough into like the emus of the world and all of the people that prevent KOs, but basically a KO for a KO. So kind of makes sense with Pearl, I guess, too. It kind of fitting for that artwork as well, if I do say so myself. And then we've got Zeph next as well. So Zeph is the red character. This is the EBO4 one, so I guess I did sneak in a slight little EBO4 one. But 7-cost 8k. When attacking, your leader's base power becomes 7000 until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that in general is just like, I think I was a little bit off there, so I was cutting that off, but you can read it now. So when attacking, you can just have a 7k leader until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's kind of crazy. I've seen that with like the Usopp trigger, and then there's some other cards that obviously can do that. They can bump up your leader's base power, but that's kind of been the new theme with a lot of these newer cards. I think especially in like even OP-13 and OP-14, and there are a lot of like 6k leaders that can be bumped up quite easily to 7k. Even Bonnie is like kind of a permanent 7k based on her ability and stuff. So kind of, I don't know how I feel about that, but pretty good card, and I do like Zeph as a character, so that's a pretty cool addition there. Okay, so next up we have the blue leaders. We've got a red blue, and we've got the Rebecca blue. So we have Lucy here, which is obviously the Sabo version. 4 life, 5k. Dessarosa and Rev Army. So basically Red Army red. So that's kind of interesting for me just in general, because I do play a lot of Bella Betty, so you can probably use a lot of those cards in this deck. But when attacking on your opponent's attack, you may trash any number of event or stage cards from your hand. This leader gains 1000 power during this battle for each card trashed. So kind of interesting on that one. Maybe that's a good for a kill shot, or if you've got extra stages in your hand, which The only one I can think of is the Rev Army one on the top of my head that you would use, but there could be some more event cards that we may see later on that fit quite well with Luffy here. Activate main once per turn. If you have activated an event card with a base cost of 3 or more, draw 1 card. So that kind of makes sense because blue is usually, it's kind of a control deck, but it does usually do a lot of card draw, so that kind of makes sense there. We'll move on to Rebecca. I don't see how this leader is going to be good, just going to be completely honest with you. Dressrosa has some decent cards, but I've not seen a lot of the support for this. We'll see it here in a second, so maybe it can change my mind, but I don't know. We'll see. This leader can't attack. Don't like that off the rip. Activate main, you may rest this leader and return one of your Dressrosa type characters to your hand. Play up to 1 Dressrosa type character from your hand with a cost of 3. So, in other words, you can cycle your Searcher basically for a 3 cost, which I guess is strong like pretty early to be fair, but again, with the cards that are available for Dressrosa, a lot of them were like actually leader locked to the Usopp leader in OP-10, and some of the other cards aren't really that good. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll be proven wrong. So Viola, I'm pretty sure this is one of the newer ones that was leaked like quite recently, like this week or like this weekend. So blue character, 1 cost 2k, 2k counter as well. Can be used in the old Doffy decks too potentially. On play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck reveal and add up to 1 Dressrosa type card from your hand. Then place the rest of the bottom of your deck. Okay, so it's a Searcher, 2k Searcher, 2k counter Searcher. So this is, you could definitely use this with Rebecca, right? This would be how you would utilize that. So that's nice. She needed that because again, there wasn't that many Dressrosa 1 cost blue Searchers that were available. So that's kind of makes sense. Okay, next up we have Olympus. So a 3 cost 4k, 1k counter. On KO, draw 1 card. So pretty self-explanatory there. Activate main once per turn. You may place 1 of your characters at the bottom of the owner's deck. This character gains rush during this turn. So I'm assuming that has to be your character. It can't be an opponent character. That may or may not be mistranslated, so I guess hold your breath on that one. But that doesn't seem that good, to be honest. Like, it seems okay, but it's the 3 cost 4k, so you still got to do something to be able to swing. And if a lot of leaders are going to be at 7k with a lot of the effects, then it's going to be kind of difficult to utilize that, I think. But it'll be interesting. Maybe to eliminate some characters too, some low-cost characters. You know, that could be a way to do it as well. But interesting there. We've got Kairos. So 3 cost 5k. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand. If your leader is Rebecca, okay, so it's leader locked to Rebecca. This card gains rush during this turn. Okay, so you get a 3 cost 5k rush. But you do have to trash a card from your hand to be able to do that. On KO, add this character card from your trash to your hand. Okay. Okay. So when it dies, you get to get it back to your hand. That's an interesting thing. Not really seen that often. Okay. I still don't think it's enough for it to be good. Like it's support. It helps, but it's still only a 3 cost 5k. So I don't think you can rely on that to win. You know what I mean? So it's a cool little mechanic, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Let's move on. So on play, if your leader has the Dressrosa type, activate up to 1 Dressrosa type event card from your hand. Okay, that's interesting. I kind of know there's like a Lucy related event card, so I'm sure that's how you're going to utilize this with having a nice big blocker on the field. Okay, we'll move on now to the Sanji, 3 cost 4k. He is a blocker, and his on play is to up to 1 of your characters gains unblockable during this turn. Interesting. Okay, so kind of similar to this Sanji from the Gear 5 starter deck. Basically, a lot of, I mean, it's not the first Sanji, and there's an event card that is Sanji related that basically prevents, you can basically attach that ability unblockable to 1 of your characters so that you can basically get a kill shot. That's kind of what it's used for. It's kind of to kill the game off. So kind of interesting that you have a blocker that does that again. So it does have a sort of a dual use that could be used sort of the late game to try and guarantee maybe a last life or a win. And then if it doesn't go through, then at least you've got a blocker as well on the field. So not too bad there. Actually, it's pretty decent card. Again, still not sure if it's going to be good in like the Rebecca deck. Like I still don't know if that's going to be enough, but could be. We've got Rebecca next. So your blue character, 1 cost. 1k counter as well. Don times 1, this character gains blocker, so it becomes a chump blocker. On play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal it and add up to 1 desperate. Okay, so it's just a searcher. So it's a searcher chump blocker, but it does require basically 2 Don to become a, on like that turn to be able to become a blocker. So, interesting there. So, this is the one I was talking about. It's a long name, as they do. It's a memento of his. I wasn't going to let anyone else have it. The blue event card, 4 cost. If your leader is Lucy, choose 1. Draw 2 cards and trash 1 from your hand. Then play up to a Dressrosa type character with a cost of 4 or less from your hand. Or return up to 1 stage card to its owner's hand. So, this was the card that I saw was sort of like the counter to Emu. This is a lot of what the talk was when this card first came out. You can basically always, you know, return a stage to the owner's hand, and basically prevent the cheat of getting out a lot of the big characters that Emu can do. So kind of interesting. And then we saw that obviously the Sabo can basically do this from the hand, so that's kind of interesting too. Pretty cool card, and will probably definitely be required in the Lucy deck, I would imagine. We then have a Dressrosa Kingdom blue stage card, 1 cost. On play, if your leader has the Dressrosa type, draw 1 card. Okay. On your opponent's attack, you may rest this stage and trash 1 event or stage card from your hand. Up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains 2,000 power during this battle specifically. Okay. We now have Enel, so now we're going into purple. So Enel is probably one of the most interesting leaders. I've kind of left the 2 interesting ones to the end. Under the rules of this game, your Don deck is 6. So I remember when this came out, everyone was freaking out. They were like, how can this be good? You know what I mean? And I was like, let's just wait and see what 6 cost can be ran in this deck. You know what I mean? So we're about to find out. Activate main once per turn. If it is your second turn or later, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and set it as active. And add up to 4 rested Don cards. Then give up to 4 rested Don cards to one of your characters. Not a bad active main. Sounds like Enel things. But kind of interesting for purple. So let's go over what his support is. Oh, here we go. Here it is, right here. The 6 cost 8k. If you have 6 or less Don cards on the field, well, I'm playing Enel, so I definitely will have that. This character cannot be removed by your opponent's effects. And it gains 2k power. Interesting. So it becomes a 6 cost 10k blocker that cannot be removed by opponent's effects. Activate main, Don -1. This character gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn, then trash 1 card from your hand. So, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. And obviously you can probably buff it even more and make it a pretty costly and hard to deal with blocker. It is a very, very cool artwork too, to be completely honest with you. So, not bad, and will definitely be required in the Enel deck. We then have Ohm, which is interesting because he's usually a yellow card. He is usually running Calgary. You use him to cheese out Hollies. But this time he's a purple character. 1 cost 2k. Sky Island and Vassals. Counter plus 1k. On play, Don -1. Draw 1 card. When attacking, if you have 6 or less Don cards on the field, give it to one of your opponent's characters -1,000 power during this turn. So, of course, you're pretty much always going to have 6 or less Don if you're playing Enel with this card. So, you get to basically subtract some costs from your opponent's characters. So, not too bad there. Gadatsu, 1 cost 2k. Sky Island Vassals, 1k counter. On play, Don -1, draw 1 card. Does the exact same thing. But this one has an on KO. If you have 6 or less Don cards on your field, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less. Interesting. So you can kind of try and utilize Ohm and Gadatsu to get some KOs. But obviously, like, you're thinking like this maybe won't be useful. It's when attacking. But Enel does allow you to attach the rested Don to one of your characters. So this potentially could be like a 6k swing, you know what I mean? So that's kind of interesting. Those cards will probably be very, very much so needed in the Enel deck. We've got Satori next as well. Another 1 cost 2k. He kind of has to do that, right, though, because he doesn't have enough Don, so they're all going to be really low Don, but they're going to have kind of cool abilities here. So, yet again, Don -1, draw 1 card. When attacking, if you have 6 or less Don cards on your field, look at 2 cards from the top of your deck and place them on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. Okay. Interesting there. So kind of setting yourself up. I don't know if I like that one as much, but it will probably be necessary. Then we've got Shura. 1 cost 2k, 1k counter. If you have 6 or less on the field, this character gains something during this turn. I'm assuming Rush. I'm going to assume Rush. Great guide. Huh. And then on play, draw 1 card with a Don -1. Okay. Not too bad there, not too bad. We've got Divine Soldier next, so Sky Island, 1000 counter. If you have 6 or less Don cards on the field, this character gains blocker. Okay, so a little chump block there. Interesting. And then we've got Fuza, 3 cost 4k, Animals, Sky Island, all of your Shura characters, and this card gains unblockable. Oh, great. Opponent's turn, set the base power of your Shura characters, and this card to 6k? Oh, so that's the tech with this. So this becomes a 6k rush? Oh, okay. So that's how Enel will work. Because again, you can only have 6 Dons, so like they have to all be low costs. They've all got at least 1k counter as well. Which, you know, I don't see a lot of 2k counters, but you've got enough blockers, I think, where that's going to be used. And alright, next up we have Vari. So, the 0 cost event card, okay. Main Don -1, if your leader is Enel, draw 1 card, then up to one of your characters gains 2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. Interesting. Counter, up to one of your Enel cards gains 2000 power during this battle. Okay, so that blocker we were talking about, you could then give it another 2000. So that 6 cost blocker is becoming a blocker beard, basically, at this point. It's basically got the same power now as the blocker beards that are running Ace. So that's great. That's always good news. We've got El Thor as well. Another 0 cost event. Don -1 if your leader's Enel. Up to one of your leaders or character cards gains 1000 power during this turn. Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a power of 3000 or less. Okay, not bad. Counter up to one of your Enel cards gains 2000 power during this battle. Crazy. So they both have the same counter. So yep, you're going to want to run 4 of those, I imagine. Got another purple event. Of course we do. This is an SR? Wait, is this like one of the first SR event cards? Can't say I've seen that many times, that often. Maybe in like PRB and stuff, but that's interesting. I mean, I've seen like the alt arts, like the full arts are kind of, but they're not necessarily SRs. That's very interesting. Okay, Don -2, draw 1 card, then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with 5000 or less. Classic. So now we get rest mechanics with purple as well. What a sweet treat. Counter, give it to one of your leader or character cards 1000 power for this battle. Then if you have 6 or less Don on your board, draw 1 card. So we get a little double draw there, and we get to rest, and then we get to give. Okay, that's kind of crazy. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that's a maybe necessary for him. I mean, you could definitely get away with running 4 of each of those, but interesting that it's an SR. Seriously, like that's kind of crazy to me. Then we've got the other secret rare that's been revealed, which is Enel. 6 cost 8k. If you have 6 or less Don on the field, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. And it gains 2000 power, because why not? So that's 6 cost 10k. On play, Don -1, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, and add up to 1 card to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and trash 1 card from your hand. Okay, so those are kind of the 2 big supports I guess he has. That's his like 2 big carries in that deck, because obviously he can only have 6 Don. And then he has a bunch of low costs that play around only having 6 Don. So that'll be an interesting one. I think that's going to get a lot of play, to be honest with you. Now we have Brook. Now, when I first read this, like, sleepy, waking up one morning, not really thinking, because I don't play a lot of green, I thought this was, like, terrible at first. But now, when I reread it, it's going to be a problem. I think this is going to be an issue. So, according to the rules, you don't lose the game for having 0 cards in your deck. Instead, at the end of the turn where your deck became 0, you lose the game. So you don't like instantaneously lose. You basically have another turn to do that. So when I first read that, I was kind of confused, but then I do kind of get it. That basically means you're going to be waiting to the very, very end to be able to get a guaranteed kill. So you'll see what I'm saying here when we look at the active main. Once per turn, place the top 4 cards of your deck into your trash. Then if your deck is 0, set up to one of your characters as active. So the card that comes into mind with that is your main man, Zoro. You can already restand this guy like 3 times, so you'll basically be able to do it again. So you're going to have, like, I don't know, 4 9k swings coming at you with just one ability at the very end of the game. And that doesn't even include all the other green and all the other support that this is probably going to get, and other cards that work really well with this mechanic anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be a problem, I think. I think this is going to be a really difficult deck to go into. We get Brook. I'm actually happy, though, that Brook does get his leader for the first time. Not sure how I feel about it being green-black. He has to be black at least, because he would play into that mechanic, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that turns out. We've got Brook as the SR next, so 6 cost 6k, 1000 counter, which is always nice. On play, rest up to one of your opponent's cards. What a sweet delight. Activate main. You may trash this character. If your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type, set up to one of your characters with a base cost of 8 or less as active. You're kind of seeing how that's going to work. You're going to be able to get a lot of swings in. That's an 8 cost. You won't be able to utilize that with the Zoro. But you could utilize it with, I don't know, like a Hardy Jones, with like a Cavendish, with, I don't know. You could do it with a lot of green stuff. So that's going to be interesting. And again, part of your sort of kill shot. We've got Arlong, which I've not read this one. So this is a 4 cost 5k. Fishman, East Blue, Arlong, Pirate. So I guess could technically be used with Krieg. On KO, up to 2 of your opponent's rested cards will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Okay, that's on KO. Okay, I was like, if that's an on play, this is crazy. Okay, so it's on KO. Okay, that's like, okay. Pretty preventable, though, to be able to not just focus it. Activate main once per turn. You may give it to one of your opponent's rested Don cards to one of your opponent's cards. Yeah, so this is going to be used with Don Krieg. This has the same mechanic as the Alvida. So this is kind of not in the right spot. I kind of just put it here because it was green. So that would be more of a Don Krieg card, but still pretty cool. Usopp next, 4 cost 5k, 1k counter. This character cannot be rested by your opponent's leader or character effects and gains blocker. Alright. On KO, rest up to one of your opponent's leaders or characters with a cost of 7 or less. Alright, so I do like this artwork though. Like, I'm not a huge Usopp fan, but you've got Chopper in the background too, in his big man mode. Yeah, just some more rest mechanics. Makes sense. We've got Kuro next, 7 cost 7k. 1k counter. Blocker. On play, give it to 2 Don cards from your opponent's cost area to one of your opponent's characters. Then, at the end of this turn, up to one of your opponent's rested characters with 3 or more given Don cards will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. So, yet again, a support for Don Krieg. Basically being able to freeze your opponent's characters. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Again, I don't really like the freeze mechanic that much, but I get it, and that's kind of what the theme has been for the, for the next 2 sets. It seems like there's a lot of freeze mechanics with this one, a lot of shutdown with Croc and stuff like that. So they're kind of continuing that thread, or that trend here with Kuro. Cool. Sanji, 1 cost 2k, 2k counter. On play, if you have the leader Straw Hat Crew, trash 5 cards from the top of your deck. Okay, so that is basically the exact same thing as Sindri. That is the Thriller Bark Islands equivalent. I will show you just to make sure I know what I'm saying. I only know this because I run this in Moria. So on play, if your leader's Thriller Barks, trash 5 cards from the top of your deck. So this is basically a new trash mechanic. Obviously, you're going to be running this in Brook because your whole point is to get your cards in your trash and get your deck down to 0 as quick as possible and be able to get basically that 4 9k swings, right? So that's pretty cool. That kind of makes sense why that would go with Brook. Chopper, we've got 2 cost 2k, Animal, Straw Hat Crew. On play, trash 3 cards from the top of your deck. Okay. Activate main, you may trash this card. If your leader has the Straw Hat Crew, add up to 1 character card with Straw Hat Crew type other than Tony Chopper from your trash to your hand. So Straw Hat Crew type. Guess who you're going to be getting if you accidentally trash him? That's right. You're going to get the Zoro that just disappeared. The Zoro! You're gonna get the Zoro! Hooray! Yeah, and probably some other ones too, but cool artwork though. I do like that. That's gonna be cool to see in person. It is a rare as well, so this one's at least an uncommon. Alright, next up we have the Nami 8 cost 6k. Okay, interesting. On play, if your leader has Straw Hat Crew type, play up to 1 cost 7 or lower card with the Straw Hat Crew type card from your trash. This character, the character played by this effect gains Rush this turn. Oh my god, wait. I botched that? Let me just reread that. On play, if your leader is the Straw Hat Crew type, play up to 1 cost 7 or lower character card with the Straw Hat Crew type from your trash. The character played by this effect gains Rush. Wow, okay, so you have a lot of options with that, right? It has to be a 7 cost or lower, so you obviously can't do it with Zoro, or else that would be OP, but you could technically do it with Brook. So, which has an on-play to rest up to your opponent's characters, and then it will get Rush. Alright, that's gonna be fun. That's not gonna be a problem. That's kind of crazy. Yes, okay. This is actually my favorite artwork. One of my favorite artworks that we're gonna see in today's video. Pirate Docking 6. This is crazy cool. They finally made it into an artwork, so I'm actually really happy about this one. This character gains 6 cost. Okay, so he's a hefty boy. He's an 11 cost character. On play, you may trash 3 cards from the top of your deck. Play up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type character with a cost of 2 or less from your trash. Pretty basic ability, but a dope artwork. Next up, we have this Luffy card, which I've seen like I've already seen like 10 or 15 memes about this thing because there's just so many effects and it does so many things. In the translation, it's out of order, so I'm just going to say it in order, but you can see what I'm talking about when we get there. But each of the following effects are applied to this character depending on the number of cards in your trash. Wonder who's going to be using this one. It's definitely going to be Brook, and I feel like you could just throw it in with Emu as well, and you'll have just as good of a time. So if there are 10 or more cards in your trash, this character's base power is 9k. And it gains 10 cost, so it becomes a 17 cost 9k leader, which is beautiful. Character. And then if you have 20 or more cards during your opponent's turn, your leader becomes 7k. So now it's even harder to get life and attack the leader, so it becomes a permanent 7k. And then if you have 30 or more cards, this character gains 1,000 power. So in other words, it will be a 17 cost 10k. Which is crazy. It just has so many abilities. It's a dope artwork too. I do love the artwork, to be fair, but that one's going to be fun to play against, isn't it? We have Zoro, my boy. 2 cost 1k, 1k counter. If your Straw Hat Crew type character other than this character will be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may trash this character instead, and it has a blocker. Okay, so just a nice defensive card there to help make sure your characters aren't removed from the field. Alright, next up we have It's Embarrassing as a Human Being, which has got to be a mistranslation. I just don't know about that one. But main, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, up to one of your opponent's characters with an original cost of 5 or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next end phase. And then the trigger is that you can activate it. Okay. That's going to be an annoying one. Okay. Well, that is everything for the leaks in terms of new cards. Now we're going to go into the alt art versions. I think we're going to go over the alt art leaders. So we first have the Don Krieg, which does look pretty dope. What I love about these particular alt arts, they remind me a lot of like the OP-15 ones, where basically they've got like their crew in the background, or they have like relevant characters to that leader in the background. Kind of reminds me too of like the anniversary set as well. Obviously, Don Krieg and his crew aren't going to be like as popular, but still a really, really dope artwork, and obviously going to be probably quite playable in my opinion. We've got Lucy next, which has the whole Dessarosa crew. We got old Jesus up there, our boy Bartholomew, and then we got Diamante, Rebecca, Sabo. So like it's a pretty cool card. I do like that one. Brook is the best. Brook has the best one, hands down. Straw Hat Crew theme in the background. It looks incredible. You've got the music notes playing. You've got Luffy. You got that. I mean, it's just it's a dope one. I don't see. I see Frankie. I see Chopper. I see Sanji. Where's my moth head? Is he there? You gotta be kidding me. We got Usopp in there. Robin. I don't see Zoro. It's still cool though. Yeah, it's still cool. I like it. Maybe in person you'll be able to see it more. I guess it's maybe not the best picture. I don't know. It's still a really dope artwork though. I do like that. And then the Rebecca leader, okay, has the Dressrosa family crew there. I do like that one. That's gonna probably look really nice in person as well, I imagine. Like, I think the color scheme of all these are gonna look really dope. Like the texture and stuff in person. I just love when you get these artworks that they kind of go out of the border. I think it really adds a bit more to it, and it kind of feels more of like an artwork. We got Enel, which this is an interesting one because it's like, yeah, he's not gonna have like that many people with him, but it's gonna be Gidatsu, it's gonna be Ohm, Satori, you know, Shura. So it's a cool one. I do like this one as well, and it's like really blue, like really lightning, really blue lightning. You know, it's like I don't know. I think that's gonna look really nice textured. And then of course we've got the Luffy. So the Luffy's gonna have the Straw Hat Crew again. So like you basically get 2 Straw Hat Crew related alt art. So I think those are gonna do really well. And it's when they're in their Sky Island like uniform, like in their outfits and stuff. So that's pretty dope too. Nice attention to detail there, right? Like I really like that. So yeah, those are all the alt art leaders in OP-15 as well. And then of course, like I say, I'm probably not gonna, I've already been talking a lot about this. That's pretty much everything you need to know about OP-15. There's a lot of new cards for the EBO4 as well. I'll just like briefly go over this. This is the Pikachu Zeus that everyone's talking about. That's, you know, it's obviously an amazing and beautiful card, but it's kind of pissing me off that they're making it a Pikachu one, because it does kind of look like Pikachu, to be fair. He's got the red cheek, so I guess it's a fair analogy, but we're getting a lot of one-to-one, you know, things. But the other leader, like I was saying, is this Bonnie leader. I've actually played this on stream. They did release recently the alt art version, which does look really dope. You've got the scene that made everyone cry in the background there, and then you know, you've got her. It's spoilers, but I don't want to say anything, but it's kind of her in the last in Egghead there, doing her thing. So pretty cool. I do like that. Obviously, that alt art leader is kind of different to the theme of the other ones in OP-15, but still pretty cool nonetheless. The ones I'm excited for, of course, are Smoker and Tashigi. This card looks dope, even just as a rare, but the SP, my friends, oh my god. A must-have for my collection. So this set is going to, I hope this set flops and it goes down, and then I can actually afford to open stuff from this set, so that we can, so that I can actually pull some of these cards. We got my boy Zoro gets a card too. Didn't see this one. Damn, that alt art goes hard. I really like that alt art. I'm not gonna read the effects. I mean, you can pause it on the screen here if you want to read it, but I'm just gonna look at the artworks, to be honest with you. That looks dope. I like that. And it's red Zoro, so probably it's pretty good. You got another Bonnie card, like a little searcher here by the looks of it. It's Bonnie in her normal form, by the way. And it actually is pretty dope. I like that one. That's not bad. Cool little alt art there. Oh, I have seen this one. This is the Moda one. This is the Lulacia Kingdom. Again, don't know how that's going to really play. There's not that much support for that type. So maybe there's some more reading to do there. We've got a nice carrot card. I'm pretty sure these are we've already seen those. What else have we not seen? Does this Megalo have an alt art in the one? Maybe it does, and I just haven't seen it. That looks really funny, though. You got Shirahoshi and Luffy on top. I like that one. The Vivi, yeah, these are the ones we know. I just haven't seen some of them. Just gonna keep going until we see some in that looks really new. Oh, of course, yeah, we can go over Kobe. Oh yeah, I think these are the new ones, like the Kaku. This Kaku is gonna be new. Pretty dope alt art as well. Reminds me of like some of the VMAX color scheme Pokemon cards. We got Kobe. That is the manga in the EBO4. So this is kind of the... I think this has kind of been controversial. Like, I don't think a lot of people have liked that Kobe gets a manga. Or either that, don't like the panels that they've chosen for the manga. I don't know, there's some drama, there's always some drama. And then this is his just alt art, the SR, which actually looks dope, and you got Garp in the background. What? Okay, that's pretty dope. That's Honesty Impact right there. Like, that's like mid-action. So I think the other cards look really cool, regardless of the drama with him having a manga. We got Ginny, which is depression, so we're just gonna stop that. We got my girl Doll. Pretty cool artwork. I like that. That's just a common as well. We'll take that. Guaranteed to get those. What is this? Rob Lucci. Holy. Oh, we get the Rob Lucci when he gets absolutely bodied. Perfect. I like that. I like that. Let's just add that in. Oh my god. They do look dope though. Like, depending on how they do the design on those, the texture could go really hard. There is a lot going on in that card. So we'll have to see what that one looks like in person. We got a nice Sanji by the looks of it here, which I do like the look of this alt art. It's pretty cool. Egghead Island Sanji. Again, I'm not reading what they do. I'm just here to gawk. A little bit of eye candy at the end of the video. We got some Borsalino. I have seen this card. This card looked really good for Vegapunk decks. I think when I last saw that, but pretty cool as well. There's a nice alt art there. And this Luffy I've seen as well. Kind of, I think is going to be a bit of a problem, to be honest with you. So this is going to be quite a strong card. And it's like the Kizaru fight as well. That's dope. It's really dope. You see him in the background with all of the... Alright, I like that. I like that as like just an artwork and like as a collector's piece. So I didn't go over the Kuma, but again, depression. So I'm good on that one. If you know, you know. And that, I mean, all these are new as well, but I'm not going to go over all of them. But I think that's going to do it. Alpha. Oh yeah, I remember her. Okay. Sorry, just had to take a little peek before we close the video out there. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. That's everything we know. These SPs are really beautiful too. I think this Sabo is one of the new ones. I don't think this is in the current one. I think this is in the new set, and it is the PRB exclusive one, so it's actually quite playable. So that's very nice. And yeah, so that should be all of the new changes, everything we currently know about OP-15, and I guess technically EBO4 as well. I know this was a long one. I didn't think it was going to take this long to explain everything, but there were a lot of leaks, to be fair. I mean, this is pretty much what the set is going to have. Obviously, they've highlighted a lot of the main cards and the combos that you're going to see. There's probably going to be some more commons and uncommons that kind of fit in there that maybe, you know, give it even more support. But I'm only excited, really, because there's a lot of Calgara support, and I actually play that leader. Otherwise, though, you know, I don't know how well some of these cards are going to do into the current meta, but I still think, Brook is going to be a problem. There's always seems to be a new green deck that replaces the last green deck that makes it into a meta, so I just think this is just going to replace Mihawk. And I think Don Krieg will maybe be slept on. I think Don Krieg actually is going to be a really interesting mechanic, and I don't know. It may be the first green deck I dabble with, but probably not. I'm probably just going to play the yellows. And maybe try and figure out if Rebecca's playable. I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, and that is going to do it for today's video, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.